Where are we? Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hey,
Welcome to Hump Day, Hump Day, Hump Day.
it is indeed.
Oh, I'm telling you what, it's just me and Donny Cho this evening.
It
Um,
is.
unfortunately, Paul is under the weather and Randy had a family emergency. So we're here. We're here.
Yeah. Our thoughts go out to Randy and Paul. Hope things,
Get
hope you
better.
guys get better. And yeah, hope things work out for y'alls. And we'll be thinking about you. We'll be praying about you. And yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
Brandy. Yeah, go ahead.
it's been a heck of a week. I'm just telling you. I was just saying that my day has been, not great. I mean, we started off, we were short staffed at work, and I, I was just like, this
Yikes.
is not a good day. Didn't even know what to do with it.
Hmm.
How did your day go?
My day actually went smooth as a whistle. But it was slower than usual. So, things were kind of cool. But yeah. It's just it feels like whenever stuff happens like this that's been going on, they seem to happen in threes, right? You ever notice
They
that?
do,
Yeah,
they do, and it has,
it definitely
it
has.
has. So hopefully, this is over, and we can
Hmm.
move on to better stuff now.
Yes.
Because I'm telling you what, we don't need any more of this. Everybody just needs to get better, stay healthy, you
Yeah.
know, everything. Just,
We need good luck to happen instead of bad luck happening all the time. When is one of us gonna win the lottery, Brandy?
I don't
Damn.
know. I played though. I played the Powerball. I played the Powerball,
Hmm.
and it's funny because every time I play the Powerball, because I'm like, I'm going to take the cash annuity. I'm not going to wait every year for my money. They
Hmm.
can, it's more than enough. I understand that if I take the annuity, cash annuity, that I'll get more money in the end, but
Yeah.
that's not, I'd rather just have it all now to go crazy with.
Right.
But, yeah, but with the cash payout and with what they take in taxes, you're still looking at close to 160 million.
Hmm. I could
Yeah,
do some things with 160 million there, Brandy. I could do some
I could
things.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I always tell Krista, I'm like, well, I could get I'll get a blondes and booze bus, and we'll just all travel around in that thing.
Okay, like a world tour.
Yeah,
Yeah, just tour around on the bus and just go to like haunted locations and investigations and shows and conventions, and that would
exactly.
be a pretty cool life, Brandy.
I
I,
know, and Donnie, all we'd have to worry about is like, well, I wouldn't have to worry about anything, but you'd have to worry about taking time off work. That's it. That's all you'd have to do is take time off of work.
yeah,
We could do that.
yeah, that's a lot better than what I would do with 160 million dollars.
What would you
Yeah,
do with 160?
I would take a bunch of less fortunate people, like people who are on hard times, and I would make them gladiator fight for my entertainment. Gladiator arena.
Well, what's the prize? $1 million?
Yeah. And yeah, gladiator fights. That's what I would do.
Gladiator fights. Because they always talk about when people win the lottery, how
Hmm.
they come out of the woodwork. People come out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm your fifth cousin, twice removed on your brother, sister, cousin side. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
kind of like those are the people I'd make gladiator fight for real.
They need to bring back the gladiator fights. That's one thing I wish. That's what one of the things I felt like the Roman Empire got right that America could learn from.
I
Actually, you know what? We do have our own version of gladiator fights. What am I talking about? This country. Yeah, we got. It's just a different form.
right.
Yeah.
Well, Amy Creel in chat said I'd
Yeah.
fight for the chance at 1 million.
Yeah. People think that the American version of gladiator fights is pro sports, but it's not. It's actually reality TV.
You're right. It is reality TV.
Gladiator
All
arena.
those people backstabbing. I mean, not physically, but
Yeah.
emotionally. They're stabbing each other.
Yeah.
I mean, you could take that like that Survivor type thing and do something like that.
Yeah. That's like our version of Gladiators, if you think about it. Survivor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
Or American
what-
Idol.
right?
It's cutthroat. Those things are
Except,
cutthroat.
except we can make them wrestle.
It's kind of worse because with Gladiators, at least it's just them getting beat physically. But with something like American Idol, they're like embarrassed to their souls, you know? You see
Right.
some people get their souls crushed, especially by that Simon Cowell, the way he just tears people apart live on TV in front of the world. It's
Yeah, I
crazy
know.
stuff. It's crazy
It is.
stuff. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, that's the only thing I don't like about that. Is like that you can have constructive criticism, but just to tear somebody apart, I mean, their whole dreams go down the tubes. Can you
Hmm.
imagine how many of these kids that go on these shows hear stuff like that and then just don't sing anymore? They just
Right.
quit.
Right. But there's got to be some people who are just there to be bad on purpose just so that they can be viral.
Oh my
You got to
gosh. Don't you
imagine.
remember
Yeah.
um when American Idol first started and they had all those blooper reels type things where they'd
Yeah.
have the worst singers come on. I mean, that was like half the show.
Yeah. That's what I
Yeah.
live for. I live for that stuff.
You live for the bad ones.
Yeah.
Not too many of them on anymore.
Yeah. So, speaking of entertainment
Mhm.
and yeah, we've got a special entertaining topic we were supposed to have prepared. Actually, a little peek behind the curtains, guys. Tonight was supposed to be Paul's night. This is Paul's topic.
Yes.
But one of the things I've been noticing, Brandy, is that whenever we have one of the four of us be unable to make the show, it's always that person's topic that they can't make it to.
I I know. Wait. I've always made it for my topic. You've always made it for your topic.
Right.
It's some other two.
It's those other two. It was supposed to be Randy's topic, but then he didn't make it that one time. And then Paul's topic, he missed twice.
Yeah, he missed twice. I don't know. But this is one of the, black-eyed kids they're one of the things that I'm most curious about,
Mm-hmm.
because they're weird. I mean, they're I don't know what they are.
Right.
You hear about I mean, there's not a whole lot of reports. There are some reports. I mean, but you
Mm-hmm.
hear about these kids just asking to come in the house, come in the car, get a
Come in the
ride.
car or come in the car. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Because if you think about this, what happens if you do let them in? We don't know.
I heard one story where a lady did let them in. Nothing good happened. Nothing good happened.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, are they? Because I don't know exactly what they are. I mean,
Right.
are they demonic?
Mm-hmm.
Are they alien? Heck, some people think they may be cryptid. I don't know about that one, but I mean, the point being is that I honestly don't know what they would do to you if you let them in.
So I guess, well, I can go into that because I did check out one podcast that did mention what happened. But before we go
Okay.
into that, Brandy, I figured we might as well just kind of look at it from how it started. So
Okay.
the phenomena itself actually started in 1996 in apparently it was in Abilene, Texas. And it was a guy named Brian Bethel, who was a reporter at the time. And he had a story of being approached by two kids when he was in his car at like a movie theater parking lot. and they had like
Mm-hmm.
asked to get into his car. It's a classic story, right? He feels creeped out by them. Their mannerisms and their body language is very unnatural. And then when he looks into and one of them is speaking, the other one's got the smaller one's kind of got their head down. And then when he takes a look directly at them, he finds that they all have black where their eyes should be. Right. That was the story that he first came out with. Did a number of interviews. That's where the phenomena started picking up, and then slowly but surely, more accounts start trickling in.
Mm-hmm.
There are some in the community that speculate that the whole thing might have been just a fabrication, right?
Mm-hmm.
Creepypasta. Because even though it started in '96, the story itself was supposed to have taken place in the '80s.
Right.
But then other people are coming forward, and maybe because that story was so publicized, more people are coming out and giving their accounts. I don't know if you've heard or encountered anyone yourself who's had a story like that.
I mean, I know of one person. I knew a while back, but that's it. That's it. I really know more people who have seen Bigfoot and Dogman
Hmm.
than I have of this phenomenon.
I know of
I know.
one experiencer. Yeah. Like
That's
personally.
it.
Yeah.
And I think you and I, it's the same one. So it's kind
Yeah.
of
I
like,
think it's the same person. Yeah.
of course, it all started in Texas.
Hmm.
It's got to start in Texas. It's all weird in Texas. Um,
So, with regards to what happened to the person who let one in, there's actually an account on if you go to the podcast, the famous podcast, Astonishing Legends. That's the podcast that actually got me started on the whole paranormal topic when I was
mhm,
first interested. If you check out Astonishing Legends, they did a series on BEKs, and they did have
mhm,
one account. Again, cannot be verified. Um,
mhm.
so there's no way of, checking the source or anything, but there is one account of a lady who did let a couple black-eyed kids into her house. They just kind of sat there on the couch, like apparently waiting for their parents to pick them up, right? That was their excuse. But
Mhm.
they didn't really seem to do much of anything. They didn't pick up try to call the parents. They didn't really interact. The animals there seemed extremely bothered by them. Like they didn't even want to be in the same room. And then when they finally left afterwards, the lady reported all of these strange, like illnesses, misfortunes. Like her husband, like got diagnosed with cancer and like passed away not too long after. Just a lot of bad things just started happening all at once, like especially with illnesses and like financial hardships and like just everything just kind of collapsed around them all at once.
So would you think they were more like a harbinger? I guess they just bring this stuff with them. They're the bringer of chaos or death or.
Well, I had one theory a while back. Okay. So the theory I had was, how in these, okay, so let's say your home or a home is under paranormal uh, attack,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Um, what do they call it? Spiritual oppression, where some kind of entity is attached to a household and it is oppressing people in various ways, right, throughout their lives.
Mhm.
And the ultimate goal is surely, but slowly but surely possessing them,
Right.
right? So, what
That's
if,
possible. Mhm.
and then you have those accounts, right? Because I don't know about you, but I watched enough paranormal shows where like a parent reports that their kid's suddenly like flipping out on them. And then they
Yes.
report that their kid looked like they had black eyes. Have you heard those accounts?
Right. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And to the understanding, those kids were, per that story, temporarily possessed at the very least, right? And then when they were temporarily possessed, their eyes went black. Well, what if there was a scenario where family household is oppressed, but it goes on for too long and it's not addressed. So then it ultimately takes over. Kid
Mhm.
is fully possessed at this point. Parents or whoever, they're fully possessed. This thing has won because a lot of times these situations get ignored because maybe one or two of the parents, they don't believe in that paranormal hokey dokey stuff.
Hokey stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they completely ignore it. And ultimately, what happens? It's allowed to fester, it's allowed to grow, and eventually it takes over completely. Right? No more temporary possessions. This is a full on 100% possession. If that were the case, what do you think would happen? Well, it would be like a virus or a fungal infection, like releasing spores. House is completely taken over by evil crap, and now it wants to spread its spore to another location. These kids go out to another household or to a car, up to a person, get asked to be let in, and so the seeds of evil can be spread to another location and then another
I see what
location.
you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So
So do you
it's like an
okay.
evil possessed household that's trying to reproduce.
Okay, so you're thinking that this is on the spiritual realm of everything. That it's kind of like a demonic type thing that's kind of spreading and just like I don't know how you want to say reaching its fingers out and just grabbing as
Mhm.
many people as it can.
I want to think of it as a paranormal worst case scenario. Like if not never addressed, a bad paranormal situation that's never addressed, and then worst case scenario.
I mean that's as good as any explanation. I mean honestly,
Hmm.
I always thought they were a little bit on the demonic side.
Right.
Um, but I there are some stories of the BEKs where they're saying that the men in black show up.
Right. Or black
So
eyed adults show up.
okay, so if the men in black show up, this is leading me to believe that it may be something else,
Extraterrestrial.
possibly,
Hmm.
possibly. And I don't know if it's these entities that are trying to get into our homes and our cars and everything to get closer to us to observe, to live among us. Maybe I don't know, maybe they want to take over the Donny Cho. They want to have a Donny Cho suit. You know what I mean? So they kind of like take over you,
Yeah.
and become you.
Or not become me, or but cause a lot of bad things to happen around me, like bad karma or bad juju. Right. All of a sudden, like a whole bunch of bad stuff. Because according to this latest story, it wasn't just physical illness. It was just like everything around her about her life, just kind of all at once.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, you know. th- that is true. That is true. I
Hmm.
mean, it's kind of like I'm going through myself. I'm kind of going through that rough patch myself. I
Yeah.
don't think it's anything demonic. It's definitely not black eyed kids. I haven't seen any, but a lot of that is you have to wonder what causes all of that. What brings on a string of bad luck? I mean,
Yeah. I
could
mean,
this?
if it's like one or two really bad things, even that can be like, well, yeah, that eventually happens to everybody. But
Mhm,
it's if it's like seven bad things all at once, you're just kind of like, okay, something's up
mhm.
now. Like everything in every way fell apart for this lady. Just in every aspect, not just her job or career or her physical health or her
Just
marriage,
everything.
just everything across the board went bad. People
Wow.
around her start dying, you know, illness, serious terminal illnesses, financial ruin, bad relationship, just like literally everything went bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. All right.
Mhm.
I that's why I'm saying that's the first story that I've ever heard where somebody actually let them in.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have taken one look at these individuals and said, no, I don't think so.
Okay, well, so you and I, we both share a mutual fandom of Dead Files, right? That's one of the first shows that I got into that got me into this whole topic in the first place.
Yeah.
One of the things you always notice in those shows, right? Remember how in every episode it starts with them interviewing the families, right? Like, hey, what's going on? What are you experiencing? Why did you call us out here? And what did they always report? It's never like one or two really bad things. It's always like a cornucopia of just badness happening, afflicting that family, right? It's always
Right.
they're sick, they're fighting, their relationships are going bad, and that they're gaining all this weight, they're feeling weak all the time, and now they've got all these crazy tumors showing up, and now they've got arthritis all of a sudden, just like all at once, and then just every facet of their life.
Right. Well, and then they start talking about all the paranormal activity.
Yeah.
And it's always like the shadow man is there. And,
Yeah.
and it's you're right. I mean, it's like the worst of the worst
Yeah.
is happening to them when they show up. That's why it's like, I never wanted them to come to my house. I'm like, nope, no, thank you. That just means that's really bad stuff. And I get it. And I understand that, the demonic presence is bad. I mean, although rare, but it is still here.
Right.
And I wonder if these are not necessarily maybe demonic, but yet what I would call nasty, just nasty entities, where they
Right.
just want to cause the chaos.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think it's something that's appearing as a child, or do you think it was a child originally started as a normal kid but got taken over by something?
I honestly think it's just something pretending to be a child.
Okay.
Because I mean, of course, what are we least afraid of? Children.
Mm-hmm.
And say like the elderly, we're not afraid of those. We're not afraid of that. It's the spectrum in between that really gets me. So I think that they're going to come across as that, because I mean I could see them coming across as a sweet old grandma or sweet old grandpa, but in this case they're coming across as children. Which we're like, hey, they're just kids. They're just kids. But I can't imagine letting them into my house. Even, just if I look at them and see the black eyes, that is my number one going, no, I don't think so.
Let me ask you this question, okay?
Okay.
Here's a hypothetical scenario, thought experiment. Same thing happens, but it's a kid, but they don't have black eyes, and they're asking to go into your house. Normal kid, no black eyes, just natural normal kid. Knocks on your door one day, asks to be let in. Would you?
Not necessarily.
No. Even if it was a normal kid, I wouldn't do that, because for a multitude of reasons, right? If there's a random little kid shows up at my door, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step out my door outside to the kid with my phone and try to call their parents or the police or see what's going on, right?
Right.
Right. That's a normal reaction, right? Black eyes excluded, right?
Well, in today's, I'm just going to say in today's chaos, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to let anybody in your house. You don't know what's happening. I mean, this little kid may be a segue into something else. Kind of like, okay, you get in the house and then we're going to go rob these people, but we need you to get in the house to unlock the door.
Right.
I mean, it's a sad scenario, but I mean, it's happening.
Well, if it's a missing child, then I don't want to be like accused of nothing if I let the kid in my house either. You got to think of that as well.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, the legal aspect of it,
Yeah.
the
So I'm not gonna. That's one thing I started thinking about. Like, if a normal kid came to my door, I wouldn't. I still wouldn't let him in. Right? I would try to help him by stepping out of the house with my phone.
Mhm,
But
mhm,
see, when I that initial question I asked you of whether or not you think it was something posing as a kid, or if it was like a kid first and then got taken over, my
mhm,
theory is that it's scenario number two. It started off as a normal kid, right? Possessed, whatever activity happened, and then this thing is now in full control. So now it wants to go out and spread, comes to my doorstep, right? If that is the case, that means that there is more than one victim here, because that
right.
kid's body is the body that the thing is inhabiting that belongs to the kid. That kid is very much just a victim, because I always wondered, what if afterwards the black guys goes back to normal and now this little kid's like in the middle of nowhere, like wondering what happened because I have missing time.
I don't think they'd ever let him go. I think they would
Right.
use up the vessel,
Hmm.
it just use up the vessel. That's pretty
Hmm.
much it. I mean, I don't think they'd ever let him go, because if it works, they're not gonna let that go. They're
Right.
gonna use, that entity is gonna use that as long as it can.
Yeah.
Or, like I said before on different shows, that when an entity is done, or they just feel like it can't do anymore, or that vessel is just, it's not working, they're going to try something else.
Right.
They might let it go then. But then again, what after being possessed for or oppressed for so long, what kind of toll does that play on your body? I mean, you could virtually be rotting from the inside out,
Hmm.
because you're not properly taking care of the vessel to sustain life.
Right.
So that would I don't know, that's a good question. That's a that I mean, that is possible, because we don't know the origin of where black-eyed kids come from. We can only speculate.
Right. But I think those paranormal stories that we hear, where the mother's recounting the story of their child becoming temporarily possessed and attacking them, and they
Yes.
report seeing them with black eyes. I think
Yes.
that's a clue or a hint as to the origin of black eyed kids.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it's a little subtle hint, but yeah. But I mean, these kids are coming up and they're like, "Let us sit in your car. Can you give us a ride?"
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was growing up, when I was a lot younger, that would have been perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It had been perfectly fine. It's like, "Hey, can you give me a ride up to the store, blah, 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 or can you give me," that was perfectly fine. But they have a eerie way about them, like I don't know, something that would make you feel uncomfortable.
Hmm.
It's like um, the feeling of, they said in the stories that the feeling of dread and everything start overcoming the person they're talking to. So if they were talking to you, Donnie, you would just start feeling like, I don't know, something bad's going to happen. You feel it,
Hmm.
and that's why a lot of they don't get in, because of the feeling of dread and things that they put this kind. It's like a spell type of thing that they put over
Yeah.
people. I don't know if it's because we can feel their vibration, or if it's actually them making us feel that way. They've had reports of people making people feel sick. But then again, we come back to the demonic side. Well, that's a sign, because when people start getting oppressed by a demonic entity, that's one of those things. They start feeling
Yeah.
fatigue and nausea, and all of these things. Donnie, you may be right on. You may be right on. I mean, I don't think that you know these spirits ever let them go. I don't think so. I think they just use up the vessel and are done.
Right.
So why would you think that the men in black would show up when these reports come in?
I'm not quite sure if it is Men in Black, but what I've heard, it's black-eyed adults, meaning, right, like we mentioned at the beginning of the show, psychically or spiritually oppressed households. They have families, right? What if it was a
Yeah.
case where like everyone got taken over in that household because the paranormal was left to fester, meaning the parents, the adults in the household as well, meaning that could have been like their parents in normal life, right?
Well, do you think possibly maybe it's not men in black, maybe it's men of the church?
Or maybe men of that other kind of church, that other religion,
The
the one that would
the
do things to produce creatures of that nature.
possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. Or, I mean, maybe that they're doing satanic
Mhm.
rituals to produce these things.
All right. So I've got a bit of a personal story to share with you, Brandy. A
Okay.
personal encounter. It's not quite a black eyed kid's story, but it's kind of close. Okay. All right. So just hold on with me. It's a bit of a tale, but it was a weird encounter I had. Okay.
Okay.
This was a number of years ago. And basically, I was kind of drifting around, and at that stage of my life, I had just moved back to the States from living in Korea for 10 years. I
Mhm.
was crashing with one of my buddies, my bros, and the reason why was because he couldn't drive because he had like a number of DUIs.
Mhm.
But he was still working. He was still trying to make it through, going to court, trying to turn his life around, going to church, going to like meetings and really making an effort to overcome all that, right? And
Mhm.
I was, he was one of my closest friends, and for my homies, we got an apartment together so I could give him a ride to work because I was able to drive, and you know, and we would help each other out, right? Because I was just
Right.
kind of back to this country, I had no footing, no bearing, nothing at the time.
Right.
So I'm driving him to church meetings and church every Sunday and once a week to church meetings, to group meetings to help him in his recovery process. And during this process and during this whole time, he's staying off the booze, he's staying away from the drugs. This guy was like a recovering addict, right?
Mhm.
And, I wasn't though, because, I'm just me. So I take him to this church Bible study, and I'm just sitting there. I don't even identify as a Christian myself, but I'm just kind of there hanging out, just discussing. And they were discussing the story of Job. You know the story of Job, right? All this bad stuff happening, and then the devil makes a bet with God. He's like, "I bet you can't make all this happen to him, and I bet he won't worship you." And God's like, "Oh
Mhm.
yeah," and that whole thing, right? So the
Right.
whole meeting was about that, and I'm just kind of there. And then when we get back, right, he's we're talking about it, and he's really down on himself. And I'm like, and meanwhile, I just bought a pack of beer because I wasn't trying to quit drinking, right?
Right.
The guy was not tempted at all, by the way, because his main vice wasn't even alcohol, so he was
Oh,
okay with
okay.
me
All right.
drinking beer. Yeah. Um so so I'm hanging out, I'm drinking, he's watching me drink, I'm playing video games, and we're just chit-chatting, right? Just like bunch of couple of guys. He starts getting real down on himself, and he's like, "Oh, I don't feel that smart. I try to understand all this Bible stuff, but it's beyond me. Like, I can't get over how God would just let the devil convince him to do all that bad stuff to him," because the guy was kind of feeling like Job at that point in his life.
Oh,
Like everything was
right.
going wrong, right? Like he had to go to court, he had his license revoked, he was financially doing very badly, and he's like, "Man, I feel like Job right now. I feel like God and the devil made a bet." And meanwhile, I'm just sitting there thinking, I was like, maybe the devil's actually on God's payroll, and the whole purpose of the devil is to be like God's drill sergeant, to create problems so that it would cause us to evolve. And I was thinking really deeply about this. And as soon as I said that, the light above our head in the apartment started like flickering, which was weird because that light never flickered. And the timing of it, it had flickered at just the moment I asked that. And then we both looked up and we looked at each other, and we were creeped out. And also the apartment, the building we were in was like built in like the 1700s. And we were living in a basement apartment of that.
Oh my
The ground
goodness.
level was like a bar and restaurant. And this was from like in the middle of an old town. This house was like hundreds of years old. Right?
Wow.
Okay. So the light flickers, right? This is a college town, by the way. Right? So the light flickers and the door, and like literally like 2 seconds later, our door to our apartment bursts open. Right? In walks this like 19-year-old college white girl. Very attractive. Our house was next to a couple sorority buildings, like sorority
Okay.
houses. So there are going to be a lot of college students walking around. And this was like in the middle of downtown. Like our apartment, the building was at an intersection, like
So
in
there's
the
a lot of
central
foot
area.
traffic.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of foot traffic, right? But this was a basement apartment. Like most people looking at that building wouldn't even know there were even apartments there. Because it was like this old-timey bar and restaurant. And then it was just one little on the side, this little like staircase down, and then it would lead to a little hallway into like these 2 basement apartments. That was it.
Wow.
Okay. People didn't even know there were apartments even there to begin with, to even know to walk down there. Okay. So as I'm talking with him, right, I'm sitting drinking beer. I've got my Street Fighter playing, and we're talking, and he's looking all down on himself. The door bursts right open. This college girl walks in, very pretty, like 19 years old. She just walks in like she owns the place. Like she just walks casually, strolls in, takes a seat on the couch, and then takes a look at the both of us. Right. And I'm like, at first I thought she was a friend of my buddy.
Of his. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So that was my first initial thought. But then he looks at me like, is she with you? And I was like, I thought she was your friend. Because my buddy was a bit of a popular guy. So I kind of figured.
Right.
So when we realized that she was just some random stranger who walked in, right? And this college girl, I remember she was very attractive, but she was like dressed very conservatively, almost not super conservative, but she wasn't like hooched out or nothing. I remember she just had a pair of jeans, a white shirt, and like a cardigan over it. Like she looked like very just nothing about her appearance was off in any way. She was like a very wholesome girl next door, but very attractive. But like she
Like,
just had like a white shirt, long pair of jeans, a cardigan. That was it. It was like nothing crazy, right?
like she was going to go to school or something.
Yeah, like a sorority girl, like your typical American college girl.
Right.
So she looks at us because he's Korean like me, and she's like, "Oh, Asian guys, And then she's realizing that we're like older Asian guys, right? And then she just kind of looks at us, and then she says, "I'll never forget this, Brandi. This is where things get weird." She's like, "Which one of you's first?"
What?
And then I'm like, excuse me?" And then I remember my dog went up to her and started playing with her. And she was like petting it, like ignoring us. And then she looks up at us, looks around. She's like, "Which one of you is first?" And then I look over at my buddy. He is looking shook. Like he is looking pale as a ghost, all wide-eyed. Like he's like this, right? And I'm like, "What in the hell?" And I'm like, excuse me? Because my buddy's not saying anything. He's like shook in the corner. He's like frozen like that.
Yeah, you're
He's
just
in
kind
like
of froze
shock.
there.
Yeah. I guess it was that. But I'm like, excuse me? You don't belong here. You need to go home. And then she looks like taken aback. And she's like, "Wait, what did you say?" I'm like, "Yeah. We're a couple of strangers, and you literally just walked into our home, You need to leave. Like now. And so she starts like looking at us all confused, and I like walk her to the door. I shoo her out the door. The whole time she's like looking like shocked and bewildered. Like, I can't believe these guys would I'm being kicked out. Like, she just looked like, what? I'm like, yeah, you need to go. Right. So I get her out of the house. I lock the door, right? My buddy just kind of like, he's so freaked out. He opens up one of those beers and then just starts chugging it with his hands all shaking. And I'm like, yo, I thought you were on recovery. He hadn't drank in months, and now he's just like shotgunning this beer. And it was one of
Right?
my beers too, man. I mean,
I paid for
I
that.
paid for those beers, man. That was for
Right.
me. Damn
Right.
it. Yeah. Anyway, I was on a budget too. Anyway, so he starts shotgunning these beers. I'm like, what's going on, dude? What's happening? What's happening? And he's like almost crying. And he was like, if you hadn't been here, and then I just like, no, dude, don't even continue that thought.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because, in his mind, like he knew that if I hadn't been there to like kick her out of the room, out of the apartment, he's a guy, let's just say.
Okay. Right.
But like as he was about to say that, look, because he was really trying, he was trying to get right with the Lord. He was trying to recover, he was trying to be a better person. But
Mm-hmm.
like he knew in his mind that if I hadn't been there, yeah, he would have gone back to it. Let's just say he would have
But
gone back to his old ways.
yeah, but the thing is that why did he start drinking? I mean, what
Because
shook
he
him
was
so bad?
so shooken at the realization that despite all of his efforts in his life to turn things around, he would have instantly thrown that all away right then and there.
So
And
basically, do you think it was the devil trying to get back in?
it gets crazier.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So the way our apartment was, the back door of our apartment led out into the dumpster area of that bar restaurant I was telling you about.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Remember, this bar restaurant is at a major intersection in a college town. There's constantly people walking around. So I'm like, hey man, let's just go out for a cigarette. Let's just calm down. So that was our smoking spot, right? So we go out to like the dumpster area. It's kind of like fenced in with like wooden fences, so you can't really see into it. And it's like a pretty spacious area.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't really it wasn't really a dumpster. It was more of like a storage space, right? So it didn't smell like food or nothing. Anyway, we go out to smoke and we're talking about it, and he's still shook, and we're just discussing it, right? Out from underneath the stairway leading from the restaurant down to that area, that girl walks out. She was standing under this staircase. So the restaurant on the ground floor had a staircase going down to that storage area. She was
Right.
literally standing under that staircase the whole time, waiting for us to come out. And then and we don't see her because it's all dark in there. So
Mm-hmm.
as me and my buddy are talking and smoking, all of a sudden this girl just comes out, just walks out like all blank stared. And then she just kind of walks at me like with her hands out like this, almost like a mummy. Eyes wide, blank stare, just walks at me. And I'm like, what's going on? And then like my buddy is back to being like frozen, like shook. And then
Right.
she walks towards me, and then she starts like clawing and like trying to scratch at me, and like just getting all like weird and flipping out. And like, so I grab her by the wrists, and I'm like trying to, well, I've got several concerns now. Number one, this girl, obviously this girl's like been waiting there and trying to like claw my eyes out. But number two, this is a major traffic area. This could easily, to anyone walking by, look very bad for me.
Right.
So I'm like
Right.
especially concerned because there's all she's got to do is just like scream out, and immediately people come charging at me thinking I'm the aggressor.
Right.
right? So I'm like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? Do I like judo this girl right here and there? Like, do I just flip her around? Like, what do I do? Right. And then I yell at my buddy, hey man, help me. The guy's like kind of scared, like he can't even move. And all of a sudden, just out of the blue, the girl just snaps out of it. And
Wow.
then she snaps out of it, and then she's just kind of looking at me like this, like she's looking around like she has no idea where she is. And I'm like, are you okay? She looks at me, she has no clue who I am. And I'm like, hey, do you need help? Hey, I got my car keys with me. Do you need a ride somewhere? Can I take you home? Because my car's right there. I'll drive you home. Just give me the address. Are you
Right.
okay? She just kind
Right.
of looked at me, and then she just kind of like walked away, like all confused, and left.
Gosh, I wonder if, because sometimes I don't think that it's like demonic oppression or possession. I think it's like a hitchhiker type of deal.
It
Like
was
they
just
kind of like they'll jump in and just,
the thing is, it was that in and of itself was crazy enough, but the fact that it happened right after that light flickered when I made that comment about Satan and God, and then literally 2 seconds later she walked in.
well, because it kind of makes it sound like it's like the devil going, "Hey, let me show you something. Let me show you what I can
Yeah.
do." You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
a lot of people say, "No, it's that it's a sign from God. God did that." Well, maybe he didn't. Maybe it was the devil saying, "Hey, let me show you what I can do. Let me flicker these lights and send in this girl." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like it could have been just a girl walking down the street. Something jumps in, and then she just makes a turn, goes right to your apartment.
I like to think the devil tried to like do something with me and my buddy, but Donny Cho was like, nah, don't play that. Donnie, don't play that. You ain't getting one over on me. You leave now.
Right, right. But see that I mean that's my thing. I mean, I don't. Sometimes I think that you're just got a hitchhiker. Like
Yeah.
it's not a full on possession. It's a temporary
Hmm.
kind of possession, and it's just like when he started talking about that stuff, and you'd already been talking about Job, and then he starts talking about all this bad stuff happening to him, and then maybe like I
And
said,
then
the
no,
devil
and then
the
as soon
devil
as I
put
bring up maybe the devil and God are in league with each other, that's when the light flickers, and then that's when she walks into the apartment.
yeah, it's kind of like the devil said, oh no, let me show you something.
Right. That was definitely like, I can't say 100% that was a paranormal encounter, but for me personally, that was like one of the weirdest things I had ever
Well,
happened to me in my life.
well, Donnie, it's hard to say because if it were drugs don't wear off in a split second.
See, that's
They
the
don't.
thing though. Like looking at her like demeanor and her body language, this girl didn't look like out of it like when she walked in. She had a very normal appearance. Like, because I was paying attention because my initial thought was maybe this girl's like drunk from some sorority party and she can't
Hmm.
handle her liquor and she just accidentally wandered into the wrong place. Okay, I can accept that. But the problem was when she was sitting on that couch, she wasn't slurring. She wasn't slumping over. She had none of the telltale signs of girls who clearly had too much to drink, especially a girl that young.
Well,
She
it
was like
doesn't sound like
19.
she had any signs of drug use either.
Yeah, she didn't look like she was drugged out. She looked like as if like someone would, a student going to a classroom sitting down at their desk. That was the countenance that she had when she sat down on the couch. And then when she looked all confused when I told her to leave the apartment, she wasn't like flipping out, all confused or nothing. She was legitimately like, really? Like, really? Like that the
Hmm.
whole time. That was it. It wasn't until
Wow.
she came out from under those stairs where she was just like all zombie looking, then her body language looked weird. Right.
Wow.
I
So
mean,
so tell me, what do you think it was? I mean, honestly, what do you think was up with her?
I think I think she was passing by and something spiritual noticed the conversation that we were having or the moment we were having, and they were like, okay, all right, I'll make myself known.
Yeah,
Right.
like I said, it was kind of like a hitchhiker,
Right.
a temporary possession.
Yeah. Instead
It's
of a,
kind of like,
yeah. So it's not quite like a black-eyed kid, but I feel like for me personally, it was close. You know.
oh, right. You know, and like I said, and then when it was done and it figured, hey, I can't get any further with this particular vessel,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna go ahead and leave. Like I said, temporary. And that's when she was kind of like had that look of confusion and you know, she just didn't know where she was, how she got there, why she was there, who you were, nothing.
Right.
I bet she was just walking down the street.
Right.
You know, because said it was like you know, it was a lot of foot traffic. So I bet she was just walking down the street, and it, you know, because there was a movie, and I can't remember what it was, but it was it's about I think it was a serial killer, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
that its body or its soul or whatever you want to call it was would transfer from one body to the next
Mm-hmm.
as soon, you know, because it was being chased and they were trying to find this demonic soul or whatever, and it kept jumping from body to body, so it was almost impossible for them to track it down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it kind of sounds like a little bit to me. It's kind of like the stuff the whole thing leading up to it about you'd already went to the meeting, you were already discussing God and all of that kind of stuff, and then you go home and then he has a moment of I don't want to call it weakness, but that I mean it is. It's like when you
Yeah.
think you're not enough, it's a weakness, and then it's like all this stuff happens. I'm that's strange. That's
Let me just
strange.
read this comment because I've been noticing some of these comments in the chat. People are saying like Satan couldn't tempt you, Donnie, and Spilling Tea with Spunky Sparky says, "Good job, Donnie. Proud of you. Now, if you accept Jesus, I will be happy." And then wink. I don't know if that's a wink. Actually, you know what? It was my Buddhism that got me through that one. I did what Buddha did. He was just like, "Nah, I don't think so. Just nah."
Right?
Can I tell you? Can I tell? Okay, but people are trying to think that I'm such a stand-up moral guy for refusing her or kicking her out of my apartment. Can I tell you my personal thought or my personal interpretation of all that is? Or the thing I said to Satan afterwards, like in my head? I was like, damn, if you're gonna try to tempt me like that, at least know my type. That dude didn't even do his homework.
Well, true, but
I'm like, damn, Satan, next time you're gonna try to do that, send someone who's more my type. Jeez. You know?
but I mean, you know, maybe your type wasn't walking down the street.
Yeah,
Maybe it was his type. Maybe, you know, or it was just something to tempt him. It was just a quick, here you go. Let me show you what I'm about. Let me show you what I can do.
I mean, okay, just a little personal aside. If you want to know a bit more about my dating history, I tend to date older. Okay, all my life, throughout most of my dating life, I dated like at least my age, or at least like a couple years older, or a little bit older than that. Right? I'm not. That's not my type. Like, damn, Satan, you couldn't even bother to do a little bit of research on me. I was kind of insulted. I was like, you're gonna throw like a 19-year-old white girl at me? Jeez, man, do your homework.
That's yeah. She's not even in the right age bracket.
The guy didn't even bother trying to research Donny Cho or look up his dating history. Damn. He should know that I like, you know, I like middle-aged women with like baggage. That, you know, I like that. I like, you know, that's the kind of lady I go for. You know.
There's a bunch of them out there, I guarantee you.
I like women with scars, you know. I like women who's like been through it. Yeah, that's my type. You know, that's the kind of woman I approach at the bar. Like, Sam didn't even bother doing his homework about me, and that insults me, Brandi. He couldn't even bother checking 5 minutes about my dating history. Damn.
I mean, yeah, because I mean, it's just it just didn't work. I don't know. I don't. I'm just sitting here thinking. I'm like,
Damn, man.
but I
Yeah.
don't think that was meant for you, Donnie.
Probably not. Probably, but she wasn't even his type too, because I know his type. But neither here nor there. Anyway.
But no, I mean, if it would have taken just that little
Yeah.
bit
Yeah.
to tempt him to go back to the dark side, you know what I'm saying? If it was just that, then anybody would have done.
Yeah.
I mean, so like I said, it just sounds like the first thing coming down the street, the closest thing to the apartment was probably hijacked.
That timing is pretty
hijacking.
crazy, though, right? It's
Right.
pretty weird. Like I said, I don't even know if that counts as a paranormal. I've never told that story on a paranormal show because technically there was no paranormal. It was a random girl walked in. I kicked her out. Literally. If you want to break it down to it, that's what it is.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah, but then again,
But
she
the
waited
timing,
for
yeah.
you under the stairs. That there was something off about her. When she was under the stairs, when you seen her come out from underneath the stairs, you
Yeah.
knew then that something was
And she
off.
came at me. She walked right past him. She came at me.
Right, because
Yeah.
you stood in the way of what that entity, what we can assume is an entity, wanted to do. You were the one that blocked it.
Yeah.
So of course it's going to come after you. You know
Can
what I
I tell
mean?
you? Can I tell you my real reason? Okay. Let me level with you. Let me level
He's
with
smiling.
you. Okay.
He's smiling. Oh no.
Can I tell you the real reason why I kicked her out of the apartment? Because I had my beers cracked open. I was at the time deeply obsessed with online Street Fighter. And I was so looking forward to having to sit through church meeting and driving my buddy around, and all I could think about was, man, I just want to tear people up on online Street Fighter. I've been waiting all day to do this. So I'm like, I'm getting ready to play. This girl walks in. I'm like, oh, God damn it.
It's kind of like you
Cutting into my
interrupted
game time. Yeah, you interrupted my game time. Yeah.
This is my personal time.
I'm trying to go ham on these fools online with my Zangief, Girls getting in my way of my fun time.
my personal time.
Yeah,
You
video games
take
over
it, you
girls.
devil.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
like
is
video
so
games
funny.
don't complain about your life choices after you're done with them,
Yeah,
That's
they
why I
don't
chose
talk.
video games over girls. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can turn them off if you get irritated. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's just like,
Right.
So I
So
feel like dealing with you, I'll turn it back on.
it's a pretty weird story, right?
It is weird. It
Do you
is weird.
Do you have a story like that, an encounter with like a random stranger that's not quite Black Guy Kids, but kind of could be?
I never have had something like that. I mean, I've had interactions with people who you just feel the negativity, even though if they seem nice, but you just feel that, you're just not my tribe kind of person. You know what I mean? And I always kind of steer away from those people. I'm civil, I'm nice, but then again, I don't try to continue the conversation. I try to get out of it. And I tell you what, there's been a lot of places I'm just like, ew. Like
Yeah.
you can just, it's just, it makes you kind of cringe. You're just like, there's something wrong with you, and they talk about that, we as people will come across a serial killer once or twice in our lifetimes and not even know it.
Right.
And I'm wondering if some of us can feel like that tendency or that vibe they give off, or but
I think some of us definitely could. Yeah.
Yeah,
especially if it's someone like a serial killer. Yeah.
Right, but I definitely feel that from some people. It's just kind of like, I don't want to be around you. It's not good for me. It just makes me feel off.
Right.
But it's kind of like when we talk about energy vampires, energy vamps.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I never know it until it's too late.
Mm.
You know.
Well, there's one thing they could definitely do to keep you from knowing. And I think, Brandi, that's a good segue into our meme of the week.
It is. It's time.
Okay, it's time,
everybody. We're a
folks.
little late. We're a little, Donny Cho, meme of the week.
All right, guys. Okay, Brandi, are you ready for this one?
I'm ready. You said.
All right, I'm okay. This one is a little different because the other prior meme of the weeks I had made specifically. Well, not I had made like these were from like Facebook posts that I posted like years ago.
Right.
That I just, I was like, oh, I remember that meme, and I just bring it on here, right? Just random memes I used to do.
Right.
This meme I made especially for tonight's show.
Oh no, here we go. I'm ready.
Right.
Hit me.
So if they work for Clark Kent, they can work for those stupid BEKs. Because on the left, you have a stupid BEK, and on the right, you have one that's not stupid. Because all it's got to do is just wear sunglasses. But they're too stupid to even realize that. So one of the things I can tell you about the BEK, yeah, we don't know if they're aliens or possessions or whatever. But one thing I can tell you for certain, though, Brandi, is this, that they're pretty freaking stupid. Because maybe not freak out the person whose house you're trying to get into. I don't know.
Exactly. Put on some sunglasses.
Maybe do a little bit of a better job of wearing a human disguise. Maybe I don't know.
I know.
Sunglasses.
You would think that they would put on because a lot of reports that you hear are they're wearing hoodies or a jacket with a hood up, or they tried to hide their face. Put on some sunglasses.
What's the point of doing all that, but then leaving your eyes all black like that? Jeez.
I know. Because you don't think I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look right in your face.
If I was that those BEK's handler, if I was like their leader or their handler, I would pull those two black-eyed kids aside and be like, listen, kids, listen. Okay. We got to work a bit on your marketing skills. All right.
Right.
Having black eyes like that, that's not very marketable. Now we could do something about that. All we got to do is just put on these sunglasses. Problem solved.
Ta-da!
Now you can go up to any human adult and easily go into their house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but wouldn't you wonder that why they were having sunglasses on, especially if it were at nighttime?
Yeah, actually, if a little kid with sunglasses came at my door, I'd be like, "Why are you wearing sunglasses, kid, at night?"
Yeah, at night. What are you doing? What are you doing? Of course, again, because we've already talked about this, we wouldn't let them in the house anyway.
Right.
Because that's, I mean, in today's world, it's not even safe to let kids in.
Right.
Because I grew up in a neighborhood where, the neighborhood kids, if they stop by the house, they're coming in. You know what I mean? It's kind of like if we're having dinner, they're having dinner with us if they don't have anything to eat or they don't have to be home or whatever. It's just kind of like everybody took care of everybody's kids. Now it's like you don't even want to be in that situation anymore because you don't know what you're dealing with.
Right.
And with these black-eyed kids now, that makes it even worse. I mean, I've never read a report where the kids look familiar.
Right.
So I'm wondering if perhaps you're right, Donny, that it's just kind of like this demonic type entity is reaching its fingers out and trying to control or puppeteer all of these children to do its bidding. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
And it would have to be a higher level demon to do something like that for sure.
And you don't want to potentially expose your own kids to that kind of energy. You would do everything in your power to like keep them away, right?
Right.
So if there was like another kid in their class or in their group that was exhibiting signs of having, occasionally turning black-eyed, I'd be like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't hang out with that kid. Nah, there's something up with that household there. No.
Yeah, that's because we've tossed around an idea, and I want to talk about it just a little bit because
Hmm.
this is something that we want to talk about. But we've talked about that school in Peru where one child was exhibiting um, demonic possession, and then the next thing you know, it kind of spread all the way through the school, and they were talking
Yeah.
about. I think it was up till like 100 kids or something like that. Were possessed. And I don't want to go into it because, like I said, we really need to do that story.
That's its own
But
episode for sure. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, is it something like that just on a smaller scale? We're not going to go and get 100 at one time. We're
You
going to
know,
get maybe one
Brandy,
or
like
two.
you got to imagine, right? If this stuff
Mhm.
is real and there are things that are actively out there taking over people's minds to do really bad stuff, right? That's its goal. Well,
Right.
naturally, I think it's going to want to spread
Yeah.
to other
Yeah, but I
locations.
think it's going to do it on the down low. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it's going to just do a little bit at a time just to sneak its way in because the thing it doesn't want to do is bring attention.
Right.
It wants to sneak,
Right.
and kind of do the snake thing and slither its
Right.
way in, so I don't know. The things freak me out. That's just it. I don't ever want to run into those because they freak me out. I mean, I
Mm,
know that all I have to do is shut my door and
yeah.
lock it. I mean, that's what I know. And then I just call the cops and they'll eventually go away. But I mean, I just want to know what their purpose is, which we don't know a lot on them. We just know what they have a tendency to do, but we don't know exactly what their purpose is. I
Hmm.
mean, we've got the one story that you told us about, about she let him in, and then the next
Hmm.
thing you know, her whole life was devastated, just by having them in. She everything fell apart, everything that she had.
Right.
But I've never heard of anyone else letting them in.
Yeah, I just know that one story, and again, I have no way of corroborating or verifying it at all. It was the
Yeah,
people who told the story had no way, and they admitted it. But that was apparently one of the stories that was floating around out there in the, you know, in the scene, right? The
yeah,
one
yeah.
account
There's,
where,
there's a
yeah,
lot of stuff out there, and sometimes you may run into creepy pasta,
hmm,
and you're not, you're like, is this real or is it
hmm,
not real, or what is this a true account? Is what I'm
or
asking.
maybe it's becoming real because more and more people are thinking about it because it was first introduced in the '90s, like Dogman.
Yeah, they're
About the same time
manifesting
that
it.
dog,
Yeah.
you gotta remember Dogman got introduced into the mainstream paranormal community into the '90s, around the same time.
Well, the whole thing about manifestation. You know what I'm
Yeah.
thinking? Like if you want something bad enough,
Mhm.
you know, it's probably going to come to pass, except for
Yeah.
winning the lottery. People, just that's what
Right.
I'm saying. That's
Right.
why, on the good side of manifestation, they're like, well, you need to, keep saying it to yourself, repeating yourself, take the steps to do it, manifest good things happening in your life, and then they will.
Yeah. And when okay, so I think there are a few morals in this discussion tonight, Brandy, right?
Mhm.
Trying to manifest good things in your life. Also, if a demonic or evil entity comes knocking at your door, don't let it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. If they want to get in your car, you're not getting a ride. No.
Okay. Let me ask you now, Brandy, hypothetical situation. You're home, you're by yourself. Let's say it's like late at night. You open the door, you got two black-eyed kids standing in front of you, asking to come inside. What do you do? What's your reaction?
I just closed the door. Nope, not today, Satan.
Now, what if they're just standing there, just lingering in front of the door, and they're in front of the door? In fact, now you see them peeking into windows. What do you do?
I would have to call the cops then. And of course I live out in the middle
Cops
of
ain't
nowhere,
gonna
so
do
that's
anything
another
with
30
black eye.
minutes.
What are the cops gonna do? Come on, Brandy. You know they
Well,
ain't gonna do
they
anything.
say when you call law enforcement that they have a tendency to disperse. Um, for me, it's kind of like, well, I don't know what you are. If you're physical, I can defend myself. But if you're not, then what? You gotta ask yourself that question.
I have the perfect solution. I call it the Donny Cho method.
Oh no. Okay. All right.
Okay. All
Everybody
right.
get your
So
tea.
same
Okay.
scenario. Same scenario, right? That I asked you. Let's say it happens to
Right.
me.
Okay.
All right. So late at night, I'm home by myself. I get a knock at the door. Two black-eyed kids trying to get in. I'll be like, okay, cool. Uh, hold on 1 second, okay? Hold on. And I close the door. I'll be right back. I go to my fridge and I get me a jar of pickle juice. And I go back to the door. And they're waiting for me there at the door. And I'm like, oh, hey, kids. And then I open the pickle juice and I splash it all up in their faces. Pickle juice. Now, here's why. All right, it's got to, well, first of all, it's got to be kosher pickle juice. Okay. Okay. So, you know how, like, what is holy water at the end of the day? Holy water is basically regular water that's been prayed for and blessed, right? The way to bless is you got to pray for it or pray over it, right?
Right.
Well, now kosher food, right? What is kosher food? It's like food that's like specially blessed by like Jewish people for consumption, right? So it's like extra holy, right?
Okay.
Kosher pickles.
Right.
So, and then, so it's like holy water because they've both been blessed, because otherwise it wouldn't be kosher. But then the pickle juice is like acidic. It smells real like crazy, right? If it gets in their eyes, it'll like burn them. But it's like holy water on steroids, Brandy.
It'd be
Holy
like
water on
acid in the
steroids.
eyeballs.
Now here's the other thing though. Like how easy is it to get holy water? You have to like go to a Catholic church and ask them for their water. That's awkward. You can't just buy that in the store, but pickle juice, I could just go to any grocery store and get kosher pickle juice. That's the solution, guys.
You can walk into a
Yeah.
church and just get
Now,
the holy water.
now here's the other reason why kosher pickle juice is especially good is because you don't, some people would react, oh, if I saw black-eyed kids, I would Sparta kick them right off my porch, right? I would drop
Right.
kick those little kids. But that's not cool because what if they're actual kids? Now you run the risk of going to jail. You can't do that. But there's no crime or law against splashing pickle juice in the kid's face if he's coming to your door. Is there? I can't go to jail for that.
All right.
So it's the perfect
PSA.
solution.
That is a PSA to everyone.
So that's how you defeat black-eyed kids.
Your newest weapon against demonic entities.
Jar of pickle juice. But it's got to be kosher.
Gotta be kosher.
Gotta be
Pickles.
kosher. Yeah.
Gotta have some kosher pickles. I mean, what it's kind of like, hey, can you just go and like be chewing on a kosher pickle and then spit it on them? I mean, you could do that too.
Yeah, you could, but you want them to like get drenched with the pickle juice. You want that going in their eyes and like burning the stupid black eyes,
Well, I like
I'm like, hey,
pickles,
black-eyed kids, I'm about to make your eyes green. And then here comes the pickle juice.
I like pickles, so I
Yeah.
feel like eating one and then splashing. Going, well, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna waste all this.
Yeah. I mean, if I know that's coming, I'm gonna have that pickle juice ready in like a super soaker gun and just like go all Terminator on them. Those black-eyed kids will not like that pickle juice, I'll tell you.
This the burning of the eyes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh my Lord.
Pickle juice also goes great with whiskey, especially Jack Daniels. I do like me a nice pickleback.
I
It's
like
a good
pickle
chaser.
shot.
Yeah.
I do like a pickle shot. I mean, I have to say that. I do like a pickle shot. And it is pretty good. I mean, you wouldn't think so.
You know what it is? I've thought deeply about this. The reason why is because there's something about pickles and something about whiskey. They kind of cancel each other out. It's like matter and antimatter to cancel each other out. And to see that reaction in your taste buds, it's kind of a nice feeling.
Well,
That's
there
what
you
it
go.
is. So yeah.
Well,
I don't
hot
know.
and spicy pickle juice. That's what Jason Finch says. Hot and spicy pickle
No,
juice.
but you don't want that. You don't want that hot and spicy because it might not be kosher. Remember, it's got to be kosher.
Got to be kosher.
Yeah, you don't want that jalapeno stuff because I don't know if that's kosher.
But then again, that's when we're dealing with, is it physical or is it not?
Right. Regardless,
See,
pickle juice, kosher pickle juice will be the answer. If it's
Kosher.
supernatural or if it's physical.
Kosher pickle
Yeah.
juice.
Kosher pickle juice. Right in their face.
That's it. That is it. Well, anyway, Donnie, with that being said, we're going to take this show and we're going to close it out.
Yep.
Let's just talk about what's happening a little quickly on this week. Blondes and Booze tomorrow. We have Thomas Ferrario from Marley Woods here in Missouri, which is basically Skinwalker Ranch in Missouri. So that ought to be fun. Friday, it's going to be Krista, and I don't know. I'll be traveling to our event, which is going to be at Ray County Museum in Richmond, Missouri. So if you would still like to come, we have an issue with Eventbrite. So
I heard
don't
about
know.
that. That's
I
heard about
I don't know what's going on with it. So, hey, we've got plenty of space. So if you would like to come, just show up and you could pay us there. It's not really a big deal. You can pay at the door, basically. That starts at noon on, oh my goodness, I believe it's noon on Saturday. I'm going to say it's noon. I don't have the flyer in front of me, but I think it's noon. And just to enjoy the whole day and night with us. And we're going to have good discussions. We're going to have some great food. And then we're going to ghost hunt. So it's going to be a great time.
Yeah.
So what do you got going on, Donnie, this week?
Well, I'm still deciding. I just got back from that convention in Jefferson.
Right.
By the way, you saw the videos?
I did.
Oh,
I did see the videos, Donnie.
Did you see the photos?
I did. I mean, we had the Asian cowboy. I was proud.
I did not appreciate them filming me like that when I didn't know they were filming me. I did not appreciate that.
You didn't do anything crazy. You were just
no, but I didn't like the idea of being filmed without me knowing. I just didn't like the idea of it. Just the idea of it.
Well,
just the thought of it. I mean, I wasn't doing anything crazy. I was like shaking my booty a little bit. It's kind of cute. People thought it was like, hey,
you're just grooving to the country music. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine.
Besides, I did not make nearly a fool of myself that night, as nearly as bad as Tex. Tex was all over the place that night.
That's probably because he had way too much spirits.
Yep. He was like,
he was full of spirits.
He was full of something, that's for sure. He had a good time. Oh, did he? Oh, wait, hold on. I didn't. Did he give you that crazy story? Did he tell you that story about that crazy woman he met? I don't know if I should mention that or if we should mention that off air.
Probably off air.
Okay. It's a doozy.
Off air.
Oh, it's a doozy. Actually, you know what? I'm going to hold off on it because I know Tex is going to tell that story on one of these podcasts. I know he's going to. So I'm not going to spoil Tex's party on that one.
Yeah, because he didn't say on Monday because we talked all about it.
No, I think he's saving that one for its own episode.
That's pretty sad.
Oh wait, speak of El Diablo. Hey Tex, we were just talking about you.
We were just talking about the story that he's not going to tell about the lady you met.
Yeah, I was like, did he tell you the story about the lady he met? And I'm like, oh no, he didn't. Okay, I think Tex is going to do that as its own episode.
Right.
No,
you know what?
That will not air.
Oh, that's not going to be an episode. Oh no, man! I told you to remote view that, Tex. You gotta remote view that.
I had it looked into.
Oh, you did? Was it as bad as you thought?
No.
Okay, never mind. Okay. It was human though, right? It was humans.
It was human.
Okay, no entities were involved in any way.
No, just a freak.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
well,
Okay.
then there's
We have to
that.
make sure because you never know nowadays if it could be like a possessed human or alien mind
Well,
control.
the way it
Or
went down, it was. I mean, it's like we were talking. We were talking a possible succubus. We were talking.
Mhm,
I mean, we're joking about it, but it was.
mhm.
It was. We
Yeah.
were talking possibly voodoo involved and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But none of that.
mm,
Okay.
so
Well, good news. That's good news, I guess.
Randy, hey, Two Shadows, thank you.
Hey, Two
Thank
Shadows.
you,
Thank you.
Shadows. We appreciate you.
Much appreciated. Much
Yeah.
obliged.
See what happens when y'all have me on.
I think you busted in.
I'm just saying, but see, I mean, hey, no, I just got out of bed not long ago.
Mhm.
I got bedhead. Can you tell?
Bedbeard.
Bedbeard.
Mm-hmm.
That is too close to bed bugs. No.
Mm.
But ooh, beard bugs. Ooh,
Beard bugs.
that's nasty, right? Hey Diane, I don't remember where I was going. Oh, I'm good now. But I remembered y'all were on and everything. Like, oh my gosh! So I checked real quick, and I saw it was happy your cast abandoning you. So I thought, well, I better jump on and save the day, right?
Well, we're all
Oh, yeah.
done now.
Yeah. We're like practically done with the show. Great timing.
Yeah, we're done. I mean, you just
Oh no. Where'd she go?
Hell, I guess she was done with the show.
Oh, did you just Jason McLean her text?
No, I
No.
did not.
Oh,
I didn't.
okay.
No.
Okay. He didn't pull a
No.
Jason on her? Okay, good.
No, I don't know what's happening. It just kind of it
Yeah.
does
In
that
and
from time to time. Because what I don't even know how to explain it. I've got full signal.
Hmm.
Everything is full strength, and for some reason, it does this and pops me right out and right back in. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I'm not going there. But anyway, no, I'll tell an abridged story, abridged version of the story real quick.
Okay.
It was odd, Brandy. It was very odd.
Actually, Tex, maybe we should tell it on my show.
Mm,
Because some of the elements are
Yeah.
a bit risque. At
Yeah,
least on Donny Cho says stuff, we could let it fly.
Well, yeah, that's
Actually,
right. I'm not the says stuff. You can say
Tex, if you are free,
So-
are you free this Saturday?
what time?
8:30 your time?
Well, I have to be at work at 10. I have to leave here.
well, he's
Takes
only
5
got an hour show.
Oh man, because I was like, yeah, let's do it this Saturday. You, me, and Brandy. Let's actually tell that story the way it should be
Yeah,
told.
I want to hear it.
The way it should be told.
I just don't know if I feel comfortable telling that story.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, it's up to you. There
Well,
are
you
other
can tell
stories
a
we could get
version
into.
of it.
That's
You
not
can
the only
tell a
story we could
version.
get. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
But
got
yeah,
other
that is
stories.
not the only story.
Yeah, that's not the only one.
I am just a weird stuff magnet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel you, Tex. I understand. I understand it completely.
I'm one of these people that I run into people that know me or that I've known, like in very, very random places,
Mm-hmm.
that you like. I was standing in line getting my shots in basic training. I'll give you an example. In Fort Dix, New Jersey, and from the back of the line, I hear, Tex, that's you. It was a guy I ran around with in high school.
Mm-hmm.
What? Me and my wife were in Lamaze class. We're sitting on the floor in Lamaze class. We're looking across. There's a couple that's sitting directly across from us, and me and him are just sitting there looking at each other. So we get a little break. We walk out in the hallway, and we're both like, "Man, you look familiar. You look familiar." And our wives are going, "Where do y'all know each other from?" Come to find out, we went to freaking elementary school together.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So it's stuff like that happens to me all the freaking time.
I can attest. Yeah, I can attest. Remember that one night, and Brandi, you were there that night. Remember we were, I think this was in the first convention at Texas, the Dogman convention. And then we went out to that bar, the three of us, Adam Davies was there, Greg was there.
Yeah.
And, I'm sitting next to Tex. This is the first time we've ever gone drinking together. You're with us there. And I go to get up and get our drink. I come back, and Tex is talking to an elf. An elf? What the hell? Like, this girl, was all dressed up like an elf, like the green dress and the blonde hair. And
a woodland elf.
Like a woodland elf. And, it's like a random woodland elf just, showed up. I was like, oh, so this is what hanging out with Tex is like.
In a dive bar.
In a dive bar,
a woodland elf shows up.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, we getting Fae action up in here? What's going on?
We are, evidently.
Yeah.
I mean, their drinks could have been better. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, look at when we were in Brown Springs, Brandi.
Yep.
Guy driving down, driving around with his daughter, gets out of the truck. What happens?
Right.
Yep.
we were sitting in Brown Springs, and we're at the bottom of the cemetery. We're all the way down the hill. We're right there by the spring part of it. And this guy pulls up in the truck and looks, and hey, are you Tex? Yeah. Oh, he's an hour and a half away from home.
Out in the woods.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
no,
I mean, there's that. But I mean,
with that.
Yeah.
Little Pat says, Tex getting action. Right. Nope. It ain't nothing like that.
No, nothing like that. No. Anyway.
No. And half the people, I'm going to say about 75% of the people that we run into that are for the conference or anything, I'm just saying, that are not for the conference or anything, that were kind of, I'm not sure they're all there. I'm just going to say.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Those people,
here's another couple.
Yeah, I don't think some of them are there.
Yeah.
Here's another couple.
What's that, Tex?
Well, here's a few more for you real quick. I'm at the Jefferson conference. This guy walks by the booth. He's checking out the booth and everything. And we get to talking and everything. And he asked me, or I ask him where he's from and everything. He's from my freaking hometown. And we went to high school together.
Huh.
He's a good friend of me and Randy's. But Randy wasn't there, at the time. Then you have the story of when we were in Mineola, and Jason was convinced that the woman was talking to me was I would be going, she was going, it would be it puts the lotion in the basket type thing.
Oh. Okay. No.
It's just,
no, thank you.
Really weird stuff happens to me. I'm just saying.
I don't know. But we were just wrapping up the show, Tex. So hang out for just a second when we wrap this up. But evidently, we may have a show Saturday night at 8:30. Tune in to Donny Cho Says Stuff on his channel. We may have a show. We may have a good show.
I'll get Brandy's opinion on it and see what she says.
I'll try to get Jason because he was also there. So we'll try to get something. I want to do a proper Donny Cho style weekend in review of that convention.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds great to me.
I'm gonna try. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get Jason on.
Right.
Oh, and real quick,
I will see. I will
I will
see
not be
everybody
going-
tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
I will not be going to Brown Springs this weekend. Found out last night I had to work.
Oh, okay.
I was looking forward to
Well, I
watching
mean,
you go to
can't
Brown
take all the
Springs.
time off.
I was looking forward to that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying
Yeah.
is like you unfortunately you do have to work sometimes.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
All right, everybody. We'll see everybody tomorrow night. Bye.
Bye.
Hit the button, Donny.
Wait, is there an outro? Wait, I forgot. Do we have an outro? Oh, wait, we played the opening again. Okay. Bye.
Bye.